What is up, everybody? It is Mike and Nick here with CST, and we're here to give you our full card breakdown, predictions for betting for UFC St. Louis. We're going to start with a quick recap of UFC 301, and then we're going to jump right into it. How'd you feel about this pay-per-view this week?
Well, I just started before the show and told you that I forgot it was a pay-per-view, which is funny because it was a great card. The card delivered on multiple aspects from finishing standpoint. I mean, the crowd is always funny and I think interesting to watch, but we got to give a shout out to you. Calling Anthony Smith by sub was a fucking snipe play, brother. Mike makes money, baby. Throw it up. Give me a flex, Mike. Give me a flex, Mike. Let's go. That was a crazy man. I think Usyk had horrible fight IQ moments to where he should have won that fight. If you're going based off damage criteria too as well, he should have won that fight. Unpopular opinion I have. I know that you slightly agree, so I want to hear your opinion on the main event.
Dude, on the main, I'm about to have a video about the consistency of judging here soon. I'm dropping it as soon as possible. I just got to do a little research. To me, it's like, okay, if it's damage-based scoring, and that's what they said. That's what the UFC said, not me. I didn't make that up. And then they just pick and choose when to say, okay, damage means more than control, control means more than damage. And in my opinion, rounds 2, 3, and 4, Steve Usyk significantly outdamaged Pantoja. Pantoja was desperation wrestling. Like, no, he's good. He's good at wrestling. He's good in scrambles. He wasn't doing any damage, and he was just trying to survive, in my opinion. And then even round 5, Steve Usyk was working him. He had a couple bad, IQ moments, like you said, and that led to him getting controlled more. But I could give Steve Usyk 2, 3, 4, and 5, dude. 49, 46, maybe 48, 47. I give Pantoja round 1 and round 5, but the judges robbed Steve Usyk there. For me, it's the reason I'll say robbery. Like, oh, how can you say robbery if it's a close fight? I say it's a robbery because of the scoring, especially of round 3. All 3 judges gave round 3 to Pantoja, where there was significant damage caused by Steve Usyk. There was little to, they say that, okay, yeah, but their strike count was close. Okay, it was close. Pantoja didn't do any damage. Steve Usyk did. Pantoja didn't do anything with his control, and Steve Usyk was scrambling the entire time as best as he could. And I think it was egregious that they gave him the third round. So, in my opinion, third round goes to Steve Usyk. Steve Usyk wins the fight. So that really, as a fan, not as a bettor, as a fan, that kind of stuff, the inconsistency in the judging really bothers me. But other than that, I went 11 for 13 on picks, got a lot of my methods correct as well. Steve Usyk would have got that decision. I would have been 12 for 13, but it is what it is. Oral by Brenner, I could have seen that as a draw. In the third round, Brenner was winning up until he got dropped at the last second. Obviously, if Brenner wins the third round 10-9 plus the point take, that's 10-8. Oral by won the first 2 rounds. Oral by looks invincible. He looks amazing in the first round. Obviously, his cardio could be an issue. Brenner gave him some problems there. Overall, I think it was an awesome card. Mauricio Rufy looked fucking amazing. That dude is a dog, man.
He is someone that we are going to bet heavily going forward, I'm sure, just because everything looked crisp. His reaction timing looked super well because Jamie Malarkey, though he has some really bad losses, he's not a bad fighter, man. He has bad glimpses of bad fight IQ. He has solid takedown at times. The issue is he will crash into the pocket too much, which leads him to getting knocked out, and he's overly chinny. But holy shit, Mauricio Rufy made it look clean and easy. I want to see him a little bit better against higher competition. A fight I would like to see in the lightweight division actually be Jakar Close versus Mauricio Rufy. I think both of them had stellar performances. I think you match them up for a ranking. I think that would be an incredible fight. I think Rufy, after his fight against Jamie Malarkey, deserves a fight that's going to put him somewhere, maybe not even in the rankings per se, but somewhere in that top 20 kind of range. I think Jakar Close versus Rufy would be an incredible scrap.
Yeah, 100%. I was trying to think in my head, like, have I seen a cooler takedown than that? Mauricio Rufy put up the coolest takedown I've ever seen in my entire life in the UFC. We
It
were
was
sitting
like
there like, he's him.
jumped into like a scissor leg lock kind of entanglement position just to get that. It was pretty sick. And he even opened up the fight with the spinning back kick, like a spinning back heel kick, some shit you would do in Mortal Kombat. I was like, what the hell is this? It was pretty awesome to see, man. And he has a Pajeda vibe about him. Tell me, when he's not walking out and staring you down from across the cage, tell me he doesn't have that Alex Pajeda Poatan energy, that aura, like, oh, we knew Jamie Malarkey was fucking dead. So I
Yeah,
called him by knockout by round one, and then I put a solid amount on him by finish in general. So it minus 105, that felt like easy money. So let's get
yeah.
into card though, because I think from a UFC fight night perspective, I think not only is this one of the best fight nights from a fan standpoint this year, but I think from a betting standpoint, it's incredible. A lot of spots.
100%. I feel the same. There's a lot of close lines, a lot of solid matchups. And from a betting standpoint, from a fan standpoint as well, it's a solid card. Um, I know the casuals are probably going to complain, just like they were for UFC 301. Turns out it was a banger card. I think we're going to have another banger here for UFC St. Louis. So we'll jump right into it with the early prelim opener. I guess it's just a prelim opener because it's a fight night. We got a 125 flyweight battle against JJ Aldridge and Veronica Hardy. Who do you got in this one?
I like Veronica Hardy. I'm going against my theory here. Women's MMA, as we all know, his first fight of the night, unless it was Na Liang a few weeks back, I always bet the opening underdog. JJ Aldrich has a good win against Montana De La Rosa, where she wrestled really well. I was really impressed by her wrestling. And her last finish against Na Liang, it's Na Liang. We all know how I feel about her. She is the lowest of the lowest tier in MMA. Veronica Hardy has had some tough run-ins in her UFC career, in her early UFC career. She looked absolutely garbage against Bay Malecki when I went back and taped it. Couldn't defend any sort of leg kick, which is hilarious in women's MMA, and her range distance was very off, especially for a Taekwondo specialist. But Veronica Hardy, for a Taekwondo specialist, wrestles, grapples well, cage controls better than we've seen, and doesn't throw a bunch of yippee kicks, which I truly appreciate. Having Dan Hardy in her corner, who has incredible fight IQ, I think Veronica Hardy has truly improved. I rank Jamie Lynn Horth, I'm sorry, very similar to where I rank JJ. I think JJ's tough as nails, so I like Veronica Hardy. I think something that is worth a sprinkle, granted, even though I did just say she is tough as nails. In her last 5 fights, JJ's fights have seen, or in her last 6 fights, I'm sorry, JJ's fights have seen 3 finishes. I think it's worth a sprinkle on the under. The under 2.5 is plus 345. So for this fight not to go the distance, is going to be at least 250. That's worth a little sprinkle, in my personal opinion. But in terms of who I like and lean, I do like Veronica Hardy quite a bit in this one. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Veronica Hardy has improved greatly. You know, she's still young, and like you said, she has Dan Hardy with her. Pretty solid MMA mind. I like JJ Aldridge too. I think she's tough as nails, but at this point, you know, I try not to take too much stock, especially in the earlier fights of the night. Like I'm not, you know, going as crazy as I do with some of the fights later here in the night. But I'm gonna lean Veronica Hardy as well. Um, I don't have too much interest in this fight. The fight does not go the distance. Yeah, if it is plus 250, I might sprinkle that as well. But I think JJ, I think Veronica Hardy, you know, outpoints her to a decision most likely. You know, stick and move, does well with the striking, stuffs the wrestling engagements if JJ Aldridge tries to go for it. She might find herself on her back, but I don't think she's going to get finished here.
I actually think Veronica Hardy will engage the grappling herself. I can 100% see her engaging the grappling herself, cage controlling JJ, which we've seen her have issues with. I have a lot of stock in this fight personally. I think I'm going to play Veronica Hardy in a parlay pretty decently. I love early fights of the night. That's where I like to make my money because I like to live bet and I like to bet early fights. That way I have a nice base for the main card. So,
Yeah.
but moving on, you have Kevin Gisette versus Jared Gooden. Now, I'm actually pretty curious about this fight in general for a few different reasons. How do you have it going?
I mean, if I'm just looking at it right here, right now, you would think Kevin Jusett is going to win this fight. He's like, you know, he's a slow paced kind of fighter, but he's also very technically sound. Yeah, he's not the funnest guy to watch, but at the same time, Jared Gooden's a bit sloppy. He does have power, you know, he can mix it up, but his cardio is something that I question. And his technical ability just isn't all the way there for me. So if I'm looking at this fight, I say Kevin Jusett most likely wins this by decision. I could see him getting a finish. I could see Jaron Good getting a finish too, honestly. But at the end of the day, I don't think Jusett's going to let himself get caught in the chaos.
See, my thing here is I think Gooden for round one is very live. I think you watch this fight very closely, especially for someone like Jusette, who's willing to point fight, play on the outside, and leg kick his way to a decision. Which I will say, Jusette has some of the best leg kicks in the division. I don't know if that's due to his size or just how he turns over his hip, but holy shit, those things crash. I think Jared Gooden is going to be a live dog and is going to make it very dicey for the way that he crashes the pocket. Jared Gooden isn't great anywhere. but holy hell, for the first round, he is a tough man to contain. And Doucette, who doesn't have that wrestling base as a Frenchman that he is, he's not going to be able to control Jared Gooden, at least for round one. So the way I would play this fight is I would let 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes go by. If Jared Gooden has some solid moments, then you play Doucette live at whatever the line will be. Maybe around -130, maybe around -150, something of that nature. I like Doucette to win. I also can see Doucette getting a round 3 finish. So I would actually sprinkle round 3 TKO. I can see the leg kicks adding up, causing for a headhunt, or specifically maybe even a leg kick TKO. So
Yeah, that for the FanDuel method and round combos, Kevin Doucette knockout rounds 2 or 3 could be something interesting too. The odds are usually pretty high.
yeah, they haven't dropped any of the odds besides over-unders yet. They haven't even dropped method of victories, at least not on DraftKings and FanDuel from what I've checked yet.
Yeah.
Those are the books I use. I'm sure if they have it on like Bet Online and stuff like that, but I don't like using crypto sites myself. So.
Yeah, the method and round combo doesn't usually drop till Friday, so we'll see what happens when we get there.
But I do
And
love
then,
that combo. That is definitely something that I think is worth putting in a DGen parlay as well.
yeah, I love those, dude. Next fight of the night is the first one I'm super excited about. I got my boy Charles Johnson, my boy, against Jake Hadley at flyweight.
Really quickly, if Charles Johnson, every single one of his fights were 5 rounds, Charles Johnson's possibly undefeated. He's probably undefeated. He is a 5-round fighter by definition, and it really fucking sucks that we only have 3-round fights, which I understand pacing fight cards, not every, fight is a title contender and things of that nature. But Charles Johnson's one of those fighters that if he were to fight 5 rounds, he beats just about everybody. Just wanted to say that real quick.
Yeah, I really do like Charles Johnson here. I think, they have common opponent in Cody Durden. Cody Durden is a dog. Neither of them were really able to withstand that pressure that he put. And in this fight, I mean, dude, last time out against Azat Maxim, Charles Johnson, although he was in danger, significant danger at multiple points in the
He
fight.
was death's door. Let's call it what it is. He was getting clubbed. He was close to getting subbed multiple times. Holy shit, what a resilient man he is. Shout
Yeah.
out to the bro, for real.
Yeah, yeah. And St. Louis own, if I'm not mistaken, Charles Johnson is out there repping this weekend. I got to go with Charles Johnson, man. I'm going to check, as the week moves on, his inside the distance. I do think he wins by decision, but I could be persuaded based on some inflated odds on inside the distance if we do get lucky enough to see that. But like I said, Charles Johnson most likely I mean, it's not like Jake Hadley's dangerous, but at the same time, I don't think he's going to be in too crazy of danger. Maybe, he might have some subs threatened against him, but I think Charles Johnson, in my opinion, is better pretty much everywhere. I think his submission defense is good enough to, withstand whatever Jake Hadley has to offer. I really like Charles Johnson. I've been high on him for a long time, so I'm riding with Charles pretty confidently in this fight.
So to call Charles Johnson better everywhere, I find crazy. One, I think Jake Hadley's boxing is a million times more crisp. Charles Johnson has way better cardio, way better body punching, which I appreciate too as well. I think the offensive grappling is decently even though I would take a slight lean towards Jake Hadley. The defensive grappling I would put towards Charles Johnson. Jake Hadley, as you saw, especially against Alan Nascimento, way too willing to play guard and play on his back, which I hate in MMA. Now, it's funny you say Charles Johnson by finish because I want you to look at my notes here. Top of the note, under 2.5 plus 195. I love this fight to go the under, or this fight not to go the distance. Charles Johnson in his hometown, hyped up, coming off an amazing win against Azat. The issue is, though, are we putting too much stock in how amazing he looked in round 2 and 3 against someone that literally gassed himself out trying to finish him? I know we can argue that he won the Ode Osborne fight, no doubt about that, but he is still coming off a pretty tough 3-fight losing streak. Now, if Charles Johnson fight like he fought his last fight in round 2, where he literally just puts the blazing pressure on, puts the punches together, the wrestling together, I think he has an easy fight here against Jake Hadley. I truly think he can wrestle him to a decision, but I think eventually he can wear him down with his cardio and pressure and finish him. If Charles Johnson used his round 3 cardio, rounds 1 and 2, and didn't take rounds off, he would beat everybody up and body punch him and literally have him on death's door by round 3. I've been leaning Hadley all week. You just sold me on Charles Johnson. I want you to know that. I'm on the under 2.5 at plus 195, and damn it, I'm with Charles Johnson with you, baby. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. I do think, I mean, like you said, maybe Jake Hadley has crisper boxing, but overall, as a stand-up fighter, like in my opinion, if this was a kickboxing match, Charles Johnson beats Jake Hadley. I just haven't been super high on Jake Hadley. I think he's good, but Charles Johnson fighting out of the hometown, I think he's we're in for an exciting fight regardless of how it goes. But like I said, we ride with Charles Johnson, baby.
I'm with this. And one thing I like to always lean towards too is strength of schedule. If you're looking at a little bit of wiki capping, which I taped most of this card, I will mention any fight that I didn't tape. Wiki capping, Charles Johnson's strength of schedule is fucking impressive. Jake Hadley's strength of schedule, he is a can crusher up until about fight 7 of his career. So
Let's
I
get
actually
it.
the next fight too, though, I actually really like. So this is where my women's underdog of the night comes into play. Tisha Torres versus Tabitha Ricci versus Tisha Pennington. I was like, why am I messing this up? And I realized she changed her name because she got married to Raquel.
Wait, did we skip one?
No. According to, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up. I'm on Fight Odds right now, and Fight Odds have Tabitha Ricci, and Tisha Pennington before Billy Goff, Trey Waters. So since I jumped to this one, can I just do this real quick if you don't mind?
Yeah, we'll do the women and then we'll do the welterweight men.
Perfect. My apologies on this one for jumping the gun. It's because I'm looking at best fight odds right now at the moment, so I can have the odds in front of me. Um, I like Tisha Pennington here, man. Her strength of schedule is absolutely incredible. She's really sharp on the feet, pretty solid takedown when she's not wrestling an all-world wrestler. Tabitha Ricci, it feels like she has all the skills to be great, but she's not willing to be great, if that makes sense. If you go back and look at some of her past victories, for example, she will have moments where she won't be willing to trade in the pocket, where she's having better moments of trading inside the pocket. She has decently low calf kicks, but she's unwilling to use them. Her entries to her takedowns are pretty garbage, if I'm being honest. I don't like talking about fighters like that, but she doesn't have great entries to her takedowns. But that's a general problem with women's MMA. No one really wrestles well in women's MMA. Tisha Torres has long hips, strong hips, and she's really willing to get into scrambling positions, and she always ends up on top, again, unless she's fighting against world-class wrestlers. I like the strength of schedule here. I like Tisha Pennington. I keep calling her Tisha Torres. My apologies. At plus 130 at dog money, I love her here. And on top of that, she's a far longer and rangier striker.
Yeah, I initially that was my lean as well. I'm thinking Tisha Torres, Tisha Pennington. I agree with everything you said. She's a great fighter, and but I don't know. Tabitha Ricci's pretty good, man. I rate Lupi Godinez pretty high. I know she lost her last fight against Verna Jandiroba, who's a dog. But Tabitha Ricci, you know, although I thought Lupi Godinez took every round against Ricci, Ricci made it a competitive fight. You know, for losing all 3 rounds, in my opinion, she was right there with her the entire time. It was close. And Tisha Torres, I don't want to say she's incredibly similar to Lupi Godinez, but um, this is a tough one for me, man. I don't even know if I'm thinking about it. Tisha Torres at underdog money.
Yeah, I just think I don't know, man. I'd like, and it's funny that you like it. I like in this fight a lot to the Angela Hill fight, where I think Tisha Pennington had no issues handling Angela Hill. I think Tabitha Ricci is going to stay on the outside and play that yap 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 game and do all the side to side moving that she loves to do. And let's just be real, Tabitha Ricci, she's not gonna. I don't think she has. She if she wrestles Tisha Torres, I'd be surprised. I just want to leave it at that.
I feel like she's going to. I feel like it's inevitable that she tries.
I just don't think she's going to be able to. I don't think she's going to be able to. I feel like Tisha Torres' hips are way too strong for her.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna be.
Everyone knows I mean Tisha Pennington. Y'all know what I get. Y'all know what I mean. But either way, when it comes to, I just want to say this too. When it comes to women's MMA, I always feel like it's far harder to read. And I don't know if that's because I'm a guy in general or just because it can go so many which ways. And weight cuts are tough for women, man. They're really tough for women. Like we may not see how they affect them. They affect women fighters a million times harder than they do men fighters.
Yeah, so I guess we'll ride with the dog in Tisha Torres slash Pennington. We'll get after that. I'm about that, but I would not be surprised if Tabitha Ricci grinds out a decision.
Yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised. I'm not strongly leaning either which way now that you have me. See, this is the thing about getting on here and talking with you a lot of times is feel like I have a strong push and a strong lean, and then sometimes you talk me out of the other way because, quite frankly, I mean Tabitha Ricci really isn't that bad. But it's just the fact that I think Tisha Torres, I hold her in a bit higher regard than her record would say.
Yeah, I understand for sure. Shoot, I don't even know, bro. I
I mean,
might be leaning Tabitha the more I think about it.
loss. I think Zhang's a good loss. Like these are losses that I'm like, man, those you're not losing to no scrubs. So,
I feel that.
but so we got this one's actually a really good fight here that's coming up here. You have Trey Waters versus Billy Goff at welterweight. How do you lean this fight?
Dude, you know what? Just the last thing I'll say, I'm probably going Tabitha, bro. I can't. I have to. I gotta get
Yeah,
Tabitha.
we're
But
opposite on this one because I'm going to hold strong with the Tisha Pennington, but I don't feel as confident as I did when I first started breaking it down.
yeah, I think this next fight's a banger though. Trey Waters and Billy Goff, you know, the clash, it's a shorter, more compact guy against the rangy 6'5" Trey Waters at welterweight. You know, Billy Goff's last fight against Kinoshita, I picked Kinoshita in that fight, and he had nasty body work and was able to get Kinoshita out of there. Although, he looked great in that fight against a similar stature type of guy. And in this fight, Trey Waters, dude, I mean, not that I'm rating Josh Quinlan super highly, that he's the most amazing fighter ever, but Josh Quinlan's down to fight and he's pretty good technically. And Trey Waters, I remember he came in on short notice and I was like, oh, let's go, Josh Quinlan, baby. And I was shocked at how good Trey Waters was. You know, I was thinking like, okay, Quinlan has heavy hands. He's fast. He's gonna get this skinny boy out of there. And then when I saw Trey Waters in the octagon, he doesn't even look skinny. Like he's
Yeah,
6'5". He
that's why
looks
when
big.
he's like looks strong as shit. It's insane.
Yeah.
But Josh Quinlan, I just want to say real quick, Josh Quinlan like refused to fight that fight. He stood on the outside through no offense. He literally only chose to fight in specific moments and pockets. And every time Trey Waters would tag him, it's like he'd be like, damn, this fool cracks. And he would take a step back. So I don't know if that was just the best showing from Josh Quinlan per se.
I
But
just think he couldn't figure it out. Josh Quinlan couldn't figure out the range every time. He was trying to gauge range, trying to get in, and then Trey Waters sticks him, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And he must have been feeling something. He must have been feeling a little bit of power there because it made him hesitant, and he wasn't able to figure out the puzzle of the 6'5" Trey Waters. And I think it's going to be similar here. I honestly think it could be even worse. Like what Trey Waters did to Josh Quinlan, I will not be surprised if you know Trey Waters uses his range to negate Billy Goff's offense and batters him until he ends up ultimately finishing him.
yeah, we're on the same page here, and I don't think I have much else to say. The one fight that did make me really suspect, though, was the Jalen Fuller fight for Trey Waters, where he was getting tagged quite a bit up until he wasn't. He was damn near losing, in my opinion, every minute of that fight until he landed on him. Losing to Bonfim, there's really no bad losses there because Bonfim, regardless about the Bonfim brothers' losses, whether that is Ismail or Gabriel, if I'm not mistaken, he lost to Gabriel.
Yeah, he got Von Flu choked on Dana White Contender
Yeah,
Series.
he went for that guillotine on the wrong. Oh my gosh. Um, Josh Quinlan again, even though that he beat the shit out of Josh Quinlan, I don't think that's the best showing per se. I do think this comes down to a style matchup. I think Billy Goff's toughness gets him in trouble here. Trey Waters has a crisp 1-2. Crazy long, crisp, strong 1-2-2 as well. Pretty damn good defensive wrestling too, which I'm really appreciative of. So if Billy Goff can't wrestle, if he can't get inside that 1-2 range, how does he win this fight? I don't think he can. So I think we're on the same exact boat here. I actually like Trey Waters by finish, and I like him by finish quite a bit. And also
Yeah,
with body types that no one ever seems to talk about here is there's always those chances that you're going to have some sort of Darce choke, front choke, ninja choke series, and things of that nature here. And if you go and look at it here, he doesn't have a bunch of chokes, but he does have a guillotine. He does have a few rear naked chokes to his record. So that's something that's also a possibility, especially for Billy Goff, who is a pretty decent grappler, who could attempt to push the grappling pace. And if he gets rocked, I wouldn't doubt shoots a desperation sub. So another sprinkle play that I think would be nice is Trey Waters by submission, which they haven't dropped the odds yet, but it's probably going to be some pretty juicy odds.
yeah. Ever since I seen him fight Josh Quinlan, I was like, I cannot wait for this guy to fight again, dude. I was so I was blown too because I had Josh Quinlan in like a pretty fat parlay because I was like, oh, short notice, bruh. I didn't do any research. I just was in there. I was like, all right, bet Josh Quinlan, let's go. He was like minus 180, and that came back to bite me. And I was like, the next time Trey Water fights, I'm betting on this motherfucker because he's nasty. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some body work of his own. Little revenge for Kinoshita. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Trey Waters for the dub, most likely inside the distance.
Yeah, I think it's always good to bet on fighters, though. Like, I don't think the Josh Quinlan fight was a bad read because Josh Quinlan looks sharp. The issue with Josh Quinlan is I feel like I feel like Josh Quinlan is one of those guys that's like he's probably amazing in the gym. You know, you watch him shadow box and punch, he just looks incredible. But it feels like when it comes to fight time, he just doesn't pull the trigger. It feels like to me it's kind of the same issue with Tabitha Ricci. I don't know why I keep talking about Josh Quinlan. My mind keeps thinking about him, oddly enough. But fucking Trey Waters by finish. It doesn't matter. Let's move on to the next one, bro, because this next fight I think is super interesting and I think
This is
has
a
a
banger. Let's go. So we got Terrence McKinney and Esteban Ribovics at lightweight. For this fight, I'm going with my boy, Terrence McKinney,
I
T-Rex for the dub.
I fucking knew you were gonna go for T Rex. I just fucking knew it.
Dude, I bet on him every fucking time he fights. He lost last time out against Nazim, I believe, and before that he got starched by Bonfim or vice versa.
What a
And
crazy though against Nazim, though. I just gotta say, like he came out like a bat out of hell, like he always does. Terrence McKinney is the best fighter on planet Earth for a minute and a half. That's a fact. That's literally a fact. Like he has some of the most impressive wins ever. Like his Matt Frivola win is crazy fucking impressive. The Faraz Ayam win, especially the way he wrestled him and out scrambled Faraz Ayam, which granted Faraz Ayam's a Frenchman, yes we understand, but that win is aging like fine wine, baby. And then he has the craziest losses ever because it's like he goes balls to the wall for a minute and a half and absolutely death gasses. Like he's literally preying on death's door from that point. And I don't know if that's like an anabolic cardio system, that's something that's literally in his genetic tank, or if he just pushes and pushes and pushes so crazy for that minute and a half. But I knew you were going to go for Terrence McKinney. I just knew it.
yeah, I mean, Ribovics is the least like, and I like Ribovics. I think he's good, but at the end of the day, like he's not as dynamic as some of the guys that Terrence McKinney has lost to. Like Nazim Sadikov, he's good everywhere. Ismail Bonfim, he's good everywhere. Like they're a threat on the feet and on the ground. I feel like Ribovics is more of a boxer. Um, you know, I mean, it's not like he's not going to kick, but I feel like he's more one dimensional than some of the guys that Terrence McKinney has problems with. And although Esteban Ribovics he's durable as well. I think Terrence McKinney might be able to mix it up. I would not be surprised if he wins by submission. When I look at Terrence McKinney here, I believe he is the underdog. I try not to check out the odds too much,
That's actually
before we make the video.
Oh, that's what I was just looking at right now. Actually, Ribovix is anywhere from minus 175 up to a minus 194, and you can find McKinney anywhere from plus 145 to 150.
Yeah, which I like. And of course,
You're
Terrence
gonna
McKinney is very volatile, but
just want to say that, like, you have to juice it up, even if that's 10 fucking cents. You have to take McKinney by finish, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, at least see, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to hedge your own bet. I like McKinney pre-fight because I'm not impressed by Rivic's win. Um his wins, I'm sorry, Loic Radovich, losing to Loic Radovov or however his name is not impressive to me, who's a short stature power puncher that doesn't do much. He has a simple single leg. Win against Kamuela Kirk isn't overly impressive to me either way, but Rivovich punches hard and he's patient as shit. The issue is Terrence McKinney makes every fight, doesn't matter if you are patient or not, his own pace of a fight, at least for the first 3 minutes. So I think this is an incredible opportunity to take McKinney at dog odds, and I would not doubt by fight time that McKinney's even a bigger dog. I think it's a good time to take McKinney. If this fight gets past 2 minutes, you're hammering Rivovix live. If McKinney is scrambling and can't finish him, you are staring at your phone. You're ready to go. The minute Rivovix gets his back off the canvas, or if he gets rocked and he doesn't get finished, you are click, 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 and you're putting everything you have on it. So that's exactly how I'm going to play this fight. I will take McKinney pre-fight live because I think it is worth it. And I think he's so volatile enough to just outright destroy anybody on planet Earth for the first 2 minutes. The minute it gets past minute 2, I think T-Rex has nothing less in his gas tank from what it's proven time and time again. If he shows us a new improved version, I wouldn't be surprised, but what has he done? He's training out of Spokane, Washington under Coach Pablo Alonso, who, in my opinion, isn't a high-level MMA coach. And then he goes and trains with Kevin Holland, who their camp has some of the worst fight IQ of all time, and they're just smoking weed all the time. So I don't know if McKinney makes all those improvements. So pre-fight live, taking McKinney by finish, of course. I think by sub's actually a good play too as well. And then the minute it gets past 2 minutes, take smashing Ribovics live because I feel like he will be a dog at that point.
Let's get it. All right, so the next fight, we got Chase Hooper and Vyacheslav Borishev,
Uh,
Slava Claus, lightweight bout.
I got that. This one's easy, man. Slavakov, open side body kick, close side body kick, solid low kick, 1-2 destruction. He's going to piece up Chase Hooper. He's going to have Chase Hooper wrestle fucking for dear life. Slavakov trains at Team Alpha Male. He's going to get up and get up and get up, and he's not going to stay on his ass. His cardio is not as suspect as I believed it was, especially after seeing his last fight against Nazim. I know I'm mispronouncing that name, but what a scrap they had. I like Slava a lot this week. I like Slava by late finish. I think those FanDuel props around 2 or 3 TKO is beautiful. I can see him getting into some trouble with round 1 with Chase Hooper. I think Chase Hooper doesn't have as much trouble following guys and tracking guys down at 155 because they're not as fast as the 145ers. But losses against Steve Garcia, man, are always going to make me iffy about you. I don't care what weight class it was at. And I think Slava's striking is solid enough to where he's not going to get marked to Casey here. I don't think Chase Hooper is strong enough to hold him down like that. So I like Slava, and I like Slava by finishing rounds 2 or 3.
Yeah, me too. Vyacheslav Borishev is good. I mean, I rate Steve Garcia pretty highly actually though, but that's another story. Yeah,
I
Chase Hooper doesn't necessarily have the wrestling chops. He's amazing on the ground. If Vyacheslav does find himself down there, he's gonna be in danger. That's for sure. But at the end of the day, like, dude, and not to do MMA math here, but Chase Hooper versus Nazim Sadikov, Chase Hooper's getting fucking smoked, and
it's not
Borishev.
he wouldn't be able to take him down to save his life. Real quick though about Steve Garcia, I rate his toughness and cardio highly. I don't rate him as a fighter highly. That's no disrespect to Steve Garcia. All these people would kick my fucking ass, including Tabitha Ricci. So, including Na Liang, she'd beat my ass.
Yeah, so Borisov for the win here. Definitely, I don't see him. I don't see Chase Hooper surviving 15 minutes. Outside of Chase Hooper throwing up some nasty sub early in the fight, I don't see him winning here. He's not. He's tough, but I don't think he's going to be able to survive.
Yeah, man. Slava's open and close side body kick are too nice. He can kick from either stance, and it doesn't matter what stance you're in. It's fucking amazing, which is my favorite thing against someone with Chase Hooper has such a long, rangy torso, and he tends to float his elbow when he strikes too. So.
And then we'll move on. We're headed to the prelims. We're headed to the main card with our main card opener, Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Robelis de Spain. They were actually beefing on CST. That's funny as shit. We posted
No
about
way.
the announcement of the fight, and Waldo Cortez Acosta said, "I'll see you soon," and then Robelis de Spain said something about "You're my son" or something like that. So I don't think there's any serious bad blood, but they were talking shit on our page, which is funny.
Well, I have to be very careful the way I talk about this fight because I'm in Arizona. I go to J Page's Open Mat on Sunday, not every Sunday, but quite a few Sundays, and Waldo Acosta shows up every now and then. So, if he's seeing some stuff on CST, I don't want to give a bad breakdown and get my shit rocked, okay? So I'm going to leave it at this. If Robelis Desplain can't finish him in the first 2.5 minutes, same exact thing that you're going with Terrence McKinney. I'm smashing Waldo, who's tough as shit and has decent-ish boxing. And he can go rounds 3. The issue is Waldo, he has a good first round. He always lets up round 2, and then it's a toss-up round 3 every single fight. It never fails. It's always a Waldo fight. I got to just be honest. Nah, Robelis de Spain's going to knock this guy out. Nah. Robelis de Spain is he's going to knock him out. He's going to knock him out.
Yeah, he's gonna catch him right down the pipe with a straight shot, if I had to guess. But like
Yeah,
you said, Cortez Acosta is tough as shit though. So if Robelis to Spain, doesn't turn up the way we think he's going to, and the waning moments of round 1 are upon us, that's when we live bet Costa. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna survive. It's gonna be a
yeah,
fun fight though, for as long as it
yeah.
lasts.
That's the only 2 ways you can lean this. I'm actually am going to stay all the way away from this fight, though. There's no way I can play it. Even though if you do like this Spain, him at minus 218 is not a bad line for someone that's overly hyped like he is.
Yeah.
So If you think he is as good as everyone else believes he is, or the star that the UFC thinks he is, then in that case here, take him. I think Waldo Acosta he's 11-1 and he has a good record against some okay opponents. I think he is one of the best okay fighters we've ever seen, if that makes sense. His record looks amazing on paper, but he's just pretty okay. He just knows how to survive and he knows how to edge out round threes. So moving
Alrighty.
here. You also have, which I think this fight, man, this fight's fun as fuck at the 145 division. You have Sean Woodson versus Alex Caceres. How do you find this fight going?
Dude, I see. I always want to be respectful to the fighters. I hate when people talk shit like
I know.
about.
I feel like I've been being disrespectful tonight, which my apologies in
No,
general.
no, you're not too bad, dude. But I see it too often where people like are just like discredit. Like it's different. Like, okay, you want to talk shit about a basketball player? I don't even like to do that too much. But it's like this guy could die in there, you know. So it's like I try to. But I really something about me, dude. I don't dislike Sean Woodson, but you know sometimes the way that he fights really bothers me. And like in that last fight against Charles Jourdain, although Charles Jourdain was having a lot of trouble, Sean Woodson really wasn't doing that much, and the commentators were just glazing him, dude. It was unbelievable listening to it. And at the end of the day, that fight was so bad. I was like, give that shit to Charles Jourdain, man. Sean Woodson just he has not impressed me at all. He never
Charles'
really has.
lack of ability to cut off the cage that fight was so fucking frustrating. I had a plus 8,000 parlay that lost because of Jourdain. Literally. And all he had to do was cut off the cage and land maybe 5 more punches each round, and that would have went his way.
Yeah.
Like,
I like Alex Caceres here as an underdog. I haven't really checked the odds too much yet, but I think he's like plus 150, plus 160. I'm not sure.
I
Um,
got He's actually, bro, he's ranging anywhere from a plus 164 to a plus 154 right now. And I don't think that's a bad dog money.
Yeah, I like Alex Caceres. He's well rounded. Sean Woodson's going to be hard to take down. He's real tall, which will give him some extra, you know, advantage in terms of his takedown defense. But Alex Caceres isn't the best wrestler either. But I don't see, or I can see a reality where somehow Alex Caceres finds himself on Sean Woodson's back while they're still standing. And although Alex Caceres isn't necessarily the biggest finisher, I think he does, you know, provide a submission threat in this fight. Also, I mean, Alex Caceres has hands and feet, mostly feet, but he's nice, bro. And 21 and 14, if you just look at that on paper, he doesn't seem that good, but he's wildly
His,
durable. He's
dude, his,
talented.
oh, nothing but good ass losses. Look at his last two losses. Giga Chikadze and Sadiq Youssef, those are respectable losses. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Finish Pineda and Julian Rosa. He's been being active with grappling too as well. Again, I'm an Arizona boy. He's grown up at the MMA lab, man, which is literally just a few miles away from my house. People in Arizona in the MMA community love Alex Caceres. His grappling's wicked from what I understand, in the gym and out of the gym. He doesn't stay on his back in terms of scrambling here. Sean Woodson can box, but he may get kicked from range, and Alex Caceres can move defensively. I'm all the way with you on this one here. I think Alex Caceres can. I don't I don't want to say I'm easily, but I'm very confident in Alex Caceres this week. I like Alex Caceres a lot. I'd like Alex Caceres over 1.5 round when that parlay drops by DraftKings, and I think that can hit pretty well. If you want to make a same game parlay too as well, I think you make the same game parlay with Alex Caceres with him plus 2+ takedowns. I know you may not be super high on his grappling. I'm very high on his grappling, man. His takedown
No,
entry is great, but
I'm hot.
he uses the cage pretty well too to get his takedowns to where they need to be. And he's long and he drags people. It's very interesting, his fight style. But I
Yeah,
love
I'm high on his grappling. It's more so his offensive wrestling, and we've seen people have issues taking Sean Woodson down in the past.
my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. Dude, I'm all over it. And you know, it's funny, just a random thing. Alex Caceres, I had a 13 leg parlay and I picked Julian Rosa over him, and my cash out was like 1,200. And I was like, Julian Rosa should win this fight. And then as the fight starts, he just gets starched by Alex Caceres. I'm like, no fucking way, bro.
Julian
But
Rosa, so chinny, bro. But he also actually won me my favorite bet of this year. I took Julian Rosa versus Ricardo Ramos by sub at plus 600. And that was my favorite play of the year because the fight played out exactly like I thought it was going to be. Like,
dude,
I mean, to the T. He got rocked and then he jumped to a gilly. It was perfect. It was
That guy
literally
has the worst fight IQ in the entire UFC, and it's not even fucking close. He lost the same exact way 2 fights in a row. Charles Jourdain and Julian Rosa. I don't. Let's move on. I was gonna talk shit, but
so we're both on Caceres. We're both on Alex Caceres underdog money. I like Alex Caceres by decision if I'm going to take it either which way. This next fight is super interesting to me, and I love it, and I hate the odds on it. You have Mateus Rebecki versus Diego Ferreira. One of my favorite fights of all time is Diego Ferreira versus Gregor Gillespie. It is a scrambling fest from hell. It is nothing but 8 minutes of nonstop scrambling and action and two guys that just show their dicks. It was fucking incredible. Anyone that says grappling is boring needs to watch Diego Ferreira versus Gregor Gillespie. It's up there at the top 3 scrambling fights of all time. I rate his losses very high. He only loses to the best of the best guys, Beneil Dariush's, the Dustin Poiriers of the world, the Gregor Gillespie's, who I think if Gregor Gillespie was around to this day, would still be a top 10 guy. Okay. Diego Ferreira is 39 years old, which really scares me. He's taking this fight on a little bit shorter of notice. His striking is slowed down and has never been great. He's always had a pretty good high side head kick. Decent jab off of it, but his offensive wrestling is always okay, but his scrambling and defensive scrambling has always been top-notch and incredible. Crazy wicked jiu-jitsu game. Mateus Rebecki is a 3-1 favorite, and I do think Mateus Rebecki wins this fight. He's younger, he's durable as all shit. I think he's juiced to the gills. His striking's pretty wicked, and he has pretty decent scrambles and grappling in itself. The issue is I wouldn't touch this fight at those odds. At 3-1 odds, even though I do think Rebecki wins, this fight's going to be close. This fight's going to be way dicier than those odds are, in my personal opinion. I'm going to take a dog shot on Diego Ferreira. This is, a little bit of a love of my heart pick, no doubt about it. But I think Diego Ferreira offers a lot more offensively than people give him credit for. And, Mateus Rebecki doesn't box like Michael Johnson. Everyone's going to bring up Michael Johnson piecing up Diego Ferreira. Michael Johnson, to this day, is one of the best fucking boxer and handsmen in the fucking 155 division. So I won't take that slander. I'm going to take the dog shot on Diego Ferreira here.
yeah, like you said, mostly staying away. But for me, this one's dog or pass. Mateusz Rebecki, he had that fight against the New England cartel guy who Chase Hooper
Sorry,
whooped
Nick.
the ass of. Yeah, Nick Fiore, who showed he was tough in that fight, but I don't know that one. I shouldn't MMA math my way into picking Diego Ferreira here, but I do think it's a
Blake,
dog or pass.
like, it's not even about MMA mathing at that point. Nick Fiore isn't a bad fighter, but he's a tough fighter. That's the thing. And when you're beating up on someone that's a tough fighter, but you're not making it a clear, decisive win as it should be, you're not smoking the dude as the 4-1 favorite that you are. There's some issues there. And Diego Ferreira, he only loses to the top-notch guys. Like, he's vet savvy fucking means something. These aren't title fights, Like, I feel like us as MMA fans, yes, MMA fighters have a prime. They have expiration dates. But damn it, vet savvy in certain positions means something, man. And one of the last things they always say is punching power. What about jiu-jitsu? Like, true MMA jiu-jitsu. Diego Ferreira's MMA jiu-jitsu is fucking wicked. I like him a lot. Actually, I've talked myself into liking him more and more as I talked.
Yeah, I'll probably take a little stab in the dark at Diego by submission as well, unless it's like plus 200. But if it's plus 600 or higher, I'll throw a little something on it.
Dude, Diego Ferreira is a plus 200. His submission prop is going to be incredible.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right, bet. Let's get it. Dog Diego Ferreira in that fight. Be careful betting on Mateusz Rebecki. Also, don't take our word for Diego Ferreira either. He could go out there and get starched. Like, do your own research, obviously, but we're both going dog or pass on this fight.
100%. And also, too, as well, I like a caveat. This is a heart pick for sure. This next fight coming up, this is the one fight I have to caveat. This is the fight I couldn't tape at all this week. I am going off complete prior knowledge for this fight. Just so everybody has it crystal clear, I did not take this fight. So we have Carlos Ulberg versus Alonzo Menafield. So doing my wiki capping and my quick memory, I have Carlos Ulberg win the prop drops by knockout. Alonzo Menafield, chinny as shit. He doesn't use his explosiveness and athleticism like he should. He beats frauds, which we appreciate. And Carlos Ulberg, I don't think is the greatest guy. Cardio suspect, no doubt about it. Has chinny issues. I don't think Alonzo Menifield's going to crack him. I like Carlos Ulberg by knockout. Once again, I did not take this fight. Wicked capping. Mike, that's your time.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty nervous about this fight because Alonzo Menifield has looked like he's been improving and he's on a pretty decent streak right now. Immediately my logic tells me Carlos Ulberg by knockout as well. But at the end of the day, I'm super nervous about this fight. And I think if there is a play, it's probably the under, even though I could just somehow see this fight getting dragged out to a decision. But both of them, well, Alonzo Menifield, heavy power puncher. Carlos Ulberg is a sniper. I see somebody going out here. So I like the under for this one. But if I had a lean, it would be Carlos Ulberg I don't want to say for sure, but Alonzo Menifield makes me nervous, bro. He starts throwing them big bombs, and it just terrifies me.
Yeah, now I feel like an idiot because his streak is super impressive, bro.
Dude, he's been fighting well.
And
He had,
I rate Justin Jacoby high. I don't think Justin Jacoby is some fucking scrub. A unanimous decision win against him, even though Jacoby does look like he's on the down and down. So, again, wiki capping it, going by Carlos Holber by knockout. I'm not touching this fight unless, yeah, I probably will touch it because I'll have some time to tape it throughout the week. But personally, God, I got to go back and watch that Justin Jacoby fight now because if I'm impressed by Menzelfield with that fight, I'll probably lean back towards Menafield in terms of a dog or pass because Carlos Holberg, in terms of odds, he's pretty high still as well. He's almost upwards to a minus 300, 258 all the way to a 265. You can catch Alonzo Menafield at a plus 210 all the way up to a plus 200. So this is definitely something I'm going back this week to look at.
yeah.
The co-main event, though, I love this fight. I love this fight. I love this fight from a betting perspective. Um, and I love this fight because I'm starting to love someone in this fight that I used to fucking hate. Joaquin Buckley versus, let me get this, Nursultan Ruzobayev. I'm going to take Joaquin Buckley here, and I have to take Joaquin Buckley by finish. Joaquin Buckley is a minus 166 favorite. You can catch him all the way up to a minus 170. Ruzobayev is a plus 140 all the way up to a plus 132. Ruzobayev, it has the biggest sin in MMA Bible betting history, in my opinion. Almost all of his wins are by first round finish. It's almost impossible to bet on guys like that. Almost impossible, unless they're coming from a crazy wrestling background, like a Bo Nickel. Bronze medalist in Taekwondo, even though it's Taekwondo, like Rebellis. Things of that nature. And he is a definition lifelong can crusher. Even his opponents that have winning records are fighting guys that are like 0-7 their whole career. It's the most insane shit ever. Joaquin Buckley, even though Vicente Luque was very timid in his last fight, looked good. Joaquin Buckley is athletic as shit. His wrestling's getting better. Nice explosive hooks. His boxing is tightened up too. There's something swaggy about him. His jabs pop people and they make them long and they knock people off. I love his Albert Derive performance. I think that's a very underrated performance too. I think Nursultan can make it a tough fight. Maybe for the first minute and a half, but I think Buckley's going to fuck this guy up, man. I think he's going to fraud check him. I don't know if anyone even call him a big up and coming prospect, but I like Buckley a lot here. Buckley's actually my favorite play of the week, in fact. And I love Buckley here. I love Buckley by finish. I think you can take him by either finish you would like, but I like Buckley by finish here. So whenever that prop drops, which I hope is at least plus 120, I will be hammering that to hell.
Yeah, I'm happy you feel that way. I was a bit disappointed to see. I had a feeling Ruziboev was going to be the favorite, and when I went and saw Joaquin Buckley's line, it was a little bit disappointing. But I'm definitely riding with Joaquin Buckley. He's a freak athlete. He's improving a lot. I would say he's probably, the more, well, it's hard to gauge Rizzibo because of his crazy record. But I think Buckley's just better. He's good on the feet. He's very durable. I know he got finished by Chris Curtis, but Chris Curtis had bombs for him, and that was up a weight class as well.
And Buckley was fighting up in a weight class. I mean, even though Nursultan is a middleweight, granted, but Buckley is Nursultan doesn't have the boxing of Chris Curtis. That's a fact. He doesn't have the Philly show. He doesn't have the defensive prowess of him. That's a fact. And he doesn't have the takedown defense from what I understand as of now. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Joaquin Buckley for the dub, doing it for St. Louis,
Buckley actually
representing.
a minus 148, which so the line movement's not too crazy. He's only dropped about 20 cents here. So I think that's pretty nice. The fact that he hasn't dropped too far, but I think Buckley. That's my favorite play here. He wanted on this card so bad. I think he's going to show out for his people, and
Oh
Buckley
yeah.
will be my favorite prop of the week. Again, I'm really hoping we get double chance at plus 120, but it will be nice. I mean, you're probably not taking Buckley by submission, but I'm always worried about club and subs. Like Michelle Beheda last week, his submission was plus 350, and I told my boy, I was like, "Damn it, I knew it was going to be the fucking sub over the knockout." So, but moving on to the main event, then in that case, Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. How are you feeling about this fight?
Derek Lewis, a knockout, round one. You
Love it.
already know.
Love it. I love Derek Lewis. I love Derek Lewis by knockout here. Rodrigo Nascimento doesn't have the grappling entries. Going to split decision versus Ilir Tifi, which is funny because they actually both Derek Lewis and Rodrigo Nascimento went to split decision with this guy. But going to split decision with him in 2023 is an issue. Rodrigo Nascimento, his wrestling entries are ass. Dontel Mace fell on his back in terms to really to fall over for a case like this to get any wrestling entries. And Derek Lewis, as we know, can literally explode at any minute, any moment. And when he strikes and hits, he hits. Rodrigo Nascimento is very hittable. Last thing to go is factually your power. I love the Black Beast here with you. I don't have a round, but Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis by knockout's going to be damn near the same fucking line that's going to be for Derek Lewis. Him at a minus 155, that's great money right there. So I love Derek Lewis here. I think St. Louis boys cleared the co-main event and the main event. So I think I'm glad we're on the same page for that one too as well.
Let's get it, baby. This is gonna be a fun card. I'm looking forward to it. What
I
time
feel
is the card at?
So I actually have my parlay of the week here too as well that I want to give for everybody here. It's my three most confident picks, and then I added one on top to make it a four-legger if I needed to. So if you're doing the three-legger of my three most confident picks, it's Joaquin Buckley, Derek Lewis, and Slava Claus. That's at right now on DraftKings at plus 333. You can also get it at FanDuel at plus 345 right now too as well. I have a free bet on DraftKings right now, so I'm using on that. If you want to add Kevin Juicette, you can juice it up to a plus 512. I like that a lot. I think you can take Buckley by finish, Derek Lewis, and then Slava Claus, and even juice that up even a bit more. But Slava, Buckley, and Lewis at plus 333. Even nice number too. I love angel numbers, baby. What's your parlay of the week?
Yeah, that's a banger. If I'm looking at these fights right here, I I can't get away. I like Charles Johnson, Trey Waters, and Vyacheslav Borishev.
Do you have
100%.
do you have odds for that?
Nah, I don't have the odds pulled up on here. I can go to best fight odds real quick, but I
Well, I'm
am
blind. I don't know. I wonder if you can parlay them here on. Let me see here if you can.
yeah, I can parlay them on here.
Oh, I just found out how to do that. That's actually pretty cool. So you got Charles Johnson. The movement on Charles Johnson is interesting too because Jake Hadley has already moved 20 cents since open. So
Yeah, Vyacheslav Borishev, Trey Waters, and Charles Johnson is plus 527.
I
I
like
feel
that.
like
I
there's a
like
solid likelihood that comes through. I'll probably play my parlay. I'll probably play your parlay with it. Um,
I was gonna
even
say
though,
parlay of the week's just gonna be our parlays combined. I'm just gonna be real with you.
hell
And
yeah.
I'm gonna take Buckley by finish in that case. So but man, I think this card, we're gonna make a lot of money. If you're following, you're gonna make a lot of money. Don't be an asshole. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It doesn't help us if you message us and tell us good job. Go to the comments. Let us know we did a good job. Go share it with your homies. Let them know, hey, there are some sharp motherfuckers on YouTube right here that can make us some motherfucking money, dog. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Like, subscribe, drop a comment, lock of the week, favorite fight of the week, and tell your friends.
Shout out to Combat Sports Today, all the gang. We'll see y'all next week.